Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising, everybody. Welcome to another inception of Ankh that's
Yes, sir.
unifying the nomadic community. And our mission here is to save the black man. Number one, we want to bring awareness to what society is deeming us as and changing that whole narrative to something that is something positive and more influential within our community. My name is Grayson. I am your neighborhood sayers, the self awareness implementation specialist. What I do, I coach people into becoming the best version of who they are by teaching them different biblical principles and universal disciplines that will help you achieve a desired result in life. I'm glad to be here. I'm broadcasting live from the beautiful state of Florida. When I tell you the sun feels so good, it feels good to me. And with that being said, I do have my co-founder who is with us today, um, the Admiral Dr. Dunlap. Go ahead, Mr. Dunlap.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? I'm not in the sunny Florida, Miami, wherever, but I'm in South Carolina. It's a little chilly today outside, so you see I got the sweater on. Um, I'm here to bring some awareness. We're both specialists in our field of experience of life, and that's an expertise that we've been through ups and downs, trials and tribulations, and we're just trying to give y'all some insight on how to maneuver and how my brother might say is shift when times needed to shift.
Yes, sir.
I liked that little slogan last night. That was a good one. But
Yeah, because shift happens.
yes. But I'm Jay Dunlap. I'm originally from Newark. I'm now in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm a life coach. My background is social work, human services. So we're broad on the experience and information that we give out. And we're here to help the brothers. Let's get it together, fellas. Let's get back on track to influence the young, influence the youth, and get some information out that can help everybody.
Amen. Amen for that. What we're going to do, we're going to recap from last week, man. Last week's inception was so powerful. We spoke on the joys and pains of relationship. And some of the things that we learned was some emotional and relational intelligence. We used a framework of called SHOW, that's SHOW, which was surrender, honesty about the situation, having open mindedness to your part or what you played in it, and W, which was willingness, willingness to let it go, which brings us back to acceptance, which is the foundation where peace actually lies. Some habits are created for validation or for lack of. And we found out that the way that we can correct some of our issues with our emotion is by addressing the problem at the thought level. You can prevent them from escalating into feelings and into behaviors which are sometimes harder to redirect. So if you attack that thing at the thought level, when the thought comes into your head, you have a better chance of redirecting it. And we used the H3 solution. All of our issues fall in one of the three categories: either your head, your heart, or your hand. And the head was like a mindset problem, um, where you getting up with anxiety and different crazy thoughts, little sleep, and then the heart, which is your feelings, which are direct from your thoughts, your feelings that are a direct result of your thoughts. And there, in your heart, you deal with your emotional health, self awareness, and also you deal with relationship management. And we're going to dig more into that today. And then you have your hands. Now, your hands are the behaviors that are manifested from your feelings and your thoughts. Once it gets to your hands, it becomes a behavior. You have to act it out. So it falls in one of those three places: your head, your heart, or your hands. And that just brings us back to awareness. And today, what we're going to do, we're gonna we're gonna talk more on how to strategize a plan for your pain. You have to put in some type of framework, how you going to deal with your pain, because we know that sometimes pain comes out of nowhere, and if you don't have a plan in place, not that you're going to always execute it
Properly.
precisely, but you have to have something in place where you have a go-to. Because if you don't, we do understand that hurt people, and we don't want to compound the pain with more pain, which is going to cause us more distress and trauma. So what we're doing today, we're putting in a strategy to help you prepare for that pain, so you don't respond to the pain in a way that's going to compound it. So we don't want to do something that's going to hurt you more than what you're already hurting. So with that being said, today we're going to deal with the purpose of pain. How many of y'all know that there is purpose in pain? Because the reason why a lot of people don't change, bro, is because they ain't been through enough pain. I know from my life that pain will make you change. You heard me. It will make you
Oh yeah.
change. So there
Oh
is
yeah.
there is purpose in pain. Would you not say so?
Oh yeah. We got to start realizing that pain is the source of repair. Once
Ah,
you go through something, you have to mend it and fix it and repair it. But a lot of times we don't know. And that's where I think our platform really stresses the fact that we're coming to explain and try to help with the plan to enforce something that can help you figure out what you don't know. Because majority of us just don't know. We come from communities, our parents, they didn't know, so they raising kids and they're not able to teach you proper ways of dealing with the things of your heart, of your
yeah.
pain, of your hands, what to do in situations. So we mimic what we've seen. So it's better to get to a place like now where we're trying to explain how to handle stressors and pain and conflict.
Yes, conflict, definitely conflict. So we do understand that the purpose of pain in relationships is to really communicate your emotions, whether it's emotional or physical, and it really serves as a warning sign, y'all, that we need to pay attention to our relationship and begin to take action to address any issue. If it's hurting, there's an issue going on. It's just your body communicating either physically or emotionally that you need to pay attention to something that's going on within your relationship. So the first thing we need to do is examine our expectations and the other person's intentions, to really learn how to build resilience against hurt. But I'm gonna go out here on the limb again. Jay, I'm gonna ask you the
Yeah.
question. And I had to deal with this on a personal level. And we do not understand that here, at all, this is a safe environment. You can be very transparent and you can vent, and you don't have to worry about judgment happening here. This is a safe space and place. But bro, why is it so hard to let someone go, even though you know they're not the right one for you from the start?
You're constantly looking for that person. You've seen something that not necessarily they've seen in themselves.
Mm,
So seeing that image of somebody that you have now fallen in love with, you have now built a relationship with, it's kind of hard to just walk away when you feel you're invested. And
mm-hmm.
sometimes you need to walk away to remain and keep your sanity, because sometimes it is a conflict between your peace, and that's the biggest thing. Is it detrimental to your peace and to your well-being? Because if it's a situation where you're constantly in conflict and the conflict has escalated to a place of sometimes possibly violence,
Uh-huh.
that's when you have to look at the bigger picture. Am I safer to move away and leave this person alone? Because we're not going to make it like this. We're going to end up hurting each other and you're destroying each other. If you really love and care for somebody and you're really in a toxic relationship, the best way you can love them is walking away a lot of times. And as much as it may hurt, it'll teach you, that self-care is better off than ending up in a situation that gonna put you in a position where you might be in jail, you might end up in a hospital. It's just too much that can happen within a,
Right.
a dysfunctional relationship that can ruin both parties.
Mm. And how many of us has been in so many dysfunctional relationship and we still made it operational? So I asked the question also to the audience, bro. And this is what some of the responses that I got back of why it was so hard for them to let go of that relationship that they knew wasn't right for them from the start. And some people said it was because they was broken. Um, it felt
That's
better
true.
to be with somebody than just to be alone. At least
That's
if I'm
true.
with someone, I won't feel hurt or lonely.
That's true.
And then some of them had low standards. Their standards was low, and a lot of times they begin to get the victim mentality. Like I don't deserve better. They feel as though that's as good as they can get. That they don't deserve better. And
That's
on
true.
the opposite hand, bro, we even got those ones out there that's got that Captain Saberho mentality, that rescuer mentality. I need to
Yes,
save this person from themselves, and I'll feel better once their life is better. I need to sacrifice myself in part just to help them, and that will make me good, a
but
worthwhile
you really don't,
person.
but you really
That
don't
make
think about it like that when it's happening. I think it's just more so of that commitment. Some people
hmm
have that commitment to want to help, and you see a person struggling, and you get intertwined into their mess because most of the time when we stick around, that's something about ourselves that we have to question too,
mm,
because
mm.
that's insecure. Somebody needing you is something that's an insecurity within yourself as well. So if somebody is damaged, and because everyone is damaged, everyone has baggage. So to
Right.
understand that this her situation or his situation and me being around, that makes me feel like I don't have no problems. That makes me feel good about myself because I know they issues, but I don't have none. That keeps
Mm.
you from dealing with self. Accountability. Remember, we got to stick with accountability, but accountability got to start with us first.
Start at home. Start at home.
Yeah,
So we can say that's why people fall into that trap.
yeah,
And if you go a little further, as I begin to think about things that I've seen, not just within myself, within other people that's been in some of the similar situations, a lot of people have an issue of codependency.
that's
They
it.
be-
That's the word right there.
they become
That's
codependent.
that's the word.
They become codependent, and within that, they feel that they have to have that relationship, or they have to have that person to just exist. That's one. Number two, a lot of people don't like to talk about this, but this is the place where we're gonna talk about the unspoken things. Soul ties. They got soul ties with them, and they know it was for a moment. It was just to please their flesh, but now they've intertwined their souls with this other entity, and they can't let go, and they're no good for them. Then you got manipulation. People that try to be abusive in their control. How many times that people have manipulated the whole situation, um and being abusive is like you can be physical or even verbal, and then also emotionally, you know what I'm saying, manipulating people to try to could make them control to what you want. And we understand that we really can't, there's no such thing as you controlling another person, no matter how hard you try or what you do to try to manipulate or put reins on another person. You can't really control them. And
That's true.
that brings us back, we have hopelessness. Back to what I was saying earlier. Sometimes it's better to be with somebody than to be alone. They rather do that than be with somebody than to be alone, be in a crazy relationship. But bro, I come to tell you, I feel good all by myself. Do you hear me? I have peace by myself. Instead of to
But
go
you,
through the hell and tribulations of a tarnished relationship, I'd rather be free. Be to
but you
myself.
had to get, but you had to get to that point.
Exactly. It was a process. And a lot of people want to negate the process.
And how
We
long
can't.
have you been in this process?
Oh, I've been in the process for some years.
Okay, so you speaking from that from that I made it.
I'm on the other side. I'm on the other side. On the
Yeah,
other side
yeah,
of through. I'm on the other
yeah.
side of through.
But if we'd have caught you a few years back, we might have caught you in them tears.
Whew. Tears I cried from my eyes. Yes, sir. Singing the blues. Singing the
Yeah,
blues, sir. Singing
yeah,
the blues.
yeah.
But and even going through that, we go through mixed emotions. Uh,
Hmm.
I love her. I love him. I care about them, but I love them. But when you put that but in the sentence, you got to forget everything else that was preceding that.
Yeah,
And so many times they give us these careless promises. I always stay with you no matter what. I'll never leave you. I promise we will get married. Sound like a soap opera to me.
yeah. Sometimes,
And and the biggest thing, bro, is familiarity.
yeah,
The other
yeah,
person becomes so regular, so comfortable, a familiar part of our lives, and we can't and won't face the prospect of them not being there anymore. So instead of us moving on, we'll cling to that thing because we're familiar with it. And that's been one of the biggest enemies that we come up against when we find a relationship that's not conducive for our purpose or for us. We won't let it go because of familiarity. And a
and
lot of people they stuck in. Go ahead. They just stuck in relationships. Go ahead.
a lot of times when it's at a toxic place, most relationships don't have God in the middle of it. You know, and even if you did, it's a different form of it than what we need to gratify and satisfy each other. You know, it has to be something that's unified within the relationship. If that's
Mm,
if God is not at the top of your conversations, then it's going to be a breakdown of communication because nothing's going to work if one person is pulling one direction, the other person is
right.
pulling the other direction. So when you say familiarity, that's being comfortable and complacent. So most of the time, the man goes his way and the woman goes her way, and that's one of the biggest conflicts because we never come back in to try to figure out what's the problem. Like we have several reasons of why we have these issues, but we never come back for a solution. And coming
Mm,
back for a solution is having an open mind to what's going on. And when one party feels one way and the other party feels another, it's hard to come to a even ground.
right.
So a lot of times, I mean, I hate the fact that divorce is the number one. It's at the highest rate in all times, and that's mostly because most relationships don't have a foundation. You can't build something without a foundation. And the foundation is having the understanding that we both love God. We both believe in
Mm-hmm.
God. We both have problems and issues that we're coming in this relationship saying, I'm willing to work on. But if you come in, I think by not knowing, most of the time we come into the relationship with, we got it together. And you carrying
Right.
back. We had a conversation. A friend called us and said they was just ready. to move on and get started in their and I explained to them, you need time, like you said, you had time to get to yourself, to learn about yourself, to understand what part you
Exactly.
played in the dysfunction of that relationship and what I don't want to take with me into another relationship. So if I can fix the problem that I created, I don't have no control about that person that I'm separated for or we're no longer in a relationship. But if I can fix the part that I played, then that's one piece of baggage that I'm not carrying into the next relationship. And
Wow.
that's what we're not looking at. Once you get freed of the issues and the problems, it's time to plan. It's time to plan your focus, and your focus need to be. I don't need to be with nobody for a minute because I need to cleanse my system. That's what you're talking about, the soul ties. You
Right,
you
right.
we're out here running around from this one, and most men. I'm gonna be honest. This is a vulnerable, open place. Most men, even as a man myself, that's your mindset. I had to
Right.
mature and grow up to a place where I understood just because I'm not in a relationship doesn't mean that I should be a whore in these streets. And I use that term that way, and I really don't like using certain terms, but I use that term that way because most men, we operate in that way because we feel as if I don't have no woman, so I can mess with. But the key is you must be honest. Even if you're in here, honesty helps out your situation as well. But so many
Yes.
different people coming into your lives, like you said, that's soul ties. You're giving out a piece of your energy, a piece of your spirit all over the place. So when you get home and get settled and you find that right person, now you got all these spirits coming at you with different thoughts and different ideas jumping inside your head, and you're not balanced. You're on a roller coaster now. And then the
Wow.
new person that you met is wondering what is going on. What's wrong with this person? They seemed okay, but now they're up
Mm.
and down, up and down, up and down, and you really clueless because soul ties are
Clueless.
serious.
Yes,
They're really
sir.
serious, and I don't think people connect the dots like that. I'm glad you brought that up, brother.
Yes, yes. Man, I'm telling you, it's something that you just said. I think is a key factor, especially in becoming a man. You said that you had to come to the maturity level.
Hmm.
A lot of people think just because you're grown that you're mature. That's not the case.
No,
That's
no.
far from the case.
Yeah.
How many of us have an arrested development that we still are that little boy where the incident happened or where something took place in our lives that we're still stuck in that place. We never fully matured. So we still doing childish and boyish things. With maturity comes another level of responsibility. It's a whole nother level of responsibility that we have to intake, especially as us as men. And that's what we're bringing to the forefront as Ankh. For the young, the old, and the dissolute. Awareness.
Yes,
And when you get into your awareness, there is a sense of maturity level that has to come with the responsibility. We
definitely.
have to have it. We have to have it. What does maturity look like for you, bro?
Um, accountability, responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of abilities that we need to face up and come in realistic terms with. We don't gravitate. We do a lot of immature things, but we say we grown.
Ah.
When I had to and open a vulnerable moment, I had to look at myself with the way I allowed things to bother me
Mm-hmm.
and the attitude that I took after I allowed it to affect my emotions. So, like we talked about, childhood trauma. You can't control when it pops up. So when the trigger hits you and you react in a manner that's immature, it's really immature because you start
Right.
pouting, you start getting loud, you start, getting angry and upset. So that's what children do. And I really had to start looking at myself because, you know, you call me the mirror. And if I'm the mirror, I really want to resemble that man that people see in me. I don't want to be someone that's walking around speaking one way but acting another. You know, in my home, especially inside my home. I don't want to be that person that everybody looks at like, oh, Jay, man, that's a good brother. But when I get home, my wife like, well, you don't see that other side of him. No, I want to be that mature person that if something irritates me or something bothers me, I'm mature enough to step back. That's the plan that you have to put into play. But
Right.
you have to look at your own trash. You got to go through your own garbage. And
You
if
got
you're
wait a minute,
not
you gotta look
willing
at your what? Look at your
your
what? Say that one
garbage,
more time for the people in the back.
your garbage, you got to get your hands dirty and go through your garbage and
Wow.
look at your own trash and say, this is me. If I don't like this about myself, what do you think somebody else feels? If I don't appreciate the attitude or the mindset that I go into when I get upset, how do I think my family feels when they're on the other
Mm.
end of that emotion, of that
Wow.
dysfunctional behavior? So you gotta it all starts with you. Like you said, this platform. We talking about us. We talking about men. We talking about the struggles that we have as men to help us be better men. And that's one of them. When you don't look at yourself, you continue to come home and holler, scream, and black out, and you think it's okay. It's not okay.
It's not.
Grow. We said it one time before. We got to grow up.
Mm. Go and
You can't
grow. We
be
got to
50
grow
years
and grow.
old and still, when you get upset, you sitting, you got the mad face on at 50 years old.
Oh, right. Right. Got the poop face. I was supposed to say,
Yeah,
why you got the poop face?
yeah. So now you're thinking like that. Am I crazy? Is something is wrong where I'm still behaving like as if I was 12 and 13 years old? That's what children do. And it's more
Right.
acceptable from a child. When it start becoming an adult and you're behaving that way as an adult, now you look foolish.
Mm.
Now you look immature. Now you look
Wow.
like you got a whole lot of stuff going on that you're not dealing with.
Mm. And that brings us to this final part, y'all. We have to learn how to develop an emotional wellness plan because we understand that what's been obtained must be maintained and what's been possessed must be protected. Because if you fail to plan, then you must plan to fail. Proverbs 21 and 5 says that the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. Profit isn't limited to financial, it can be emotional, y'all. And poverty isn't limited to financial, it can be emotional.
Yeah,
So, so careful planning and diligence and intentionality. That's what we're doing in this season. Everything that we're doing is intentional. I'm being intentional with my verbiage. I'm being intentional with my actions. Intentionality is going to be the greatest thing. Planning, diligence, and intentionality. Um, to not make quick and hasty decisions. When you don't make quick and hasty decisions, it's going to actually produce a better favorable outcome. So it's three components to an emotional wellness plan. Um, Now I'm only going to give you one because the game is sold, not told. but we all want to bring awareness to you. If you want the other steps, you can reach out to me for a coaching session at any time, and I could successfully walk you through those steps. But the three components are developing an emotional standard. You have to create a standard, and a standard is nothing but the floor level. What's your standard? Your floor level of what your emotions going to be. Two, you have to develop a soul care strategy. We got to start really caring for our souls, y'all. You got to care for that thing. You can't just let anything happen to it or take it anywhere or whatsoever you may say. And you must develop a pain plan. And that's what we're going to jump in at. You must develop a pain plan. Um, in developing a pain plan, you have to find a space and a place where you address your actions so that when you are hurt or wounded, you don't act in a way where you're going to inflict more pain to your soul. So, soul care strategy, it actually repairs you, and pain plan stops you from inflicting more pain or damage to you. So, what are you really going to do when you in pain? Or actually, before you get in pain? So we got five elements to the pain plan, and the first one is what you gonna say. What you gonna say when you're in pain? So when I'm hurt, I would say using my words, and we understand that our words are gonna affect our wellness. Proverbs, what is it, bro? Proverbs 18:21 says, "The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit." We have life and death in the power of the tongue. So what you're saying is gonna affect your whole wellness and your outcome. So many times we say stuff off the cuff, and not realize that words are one of the three things in life you can't never get back. You can't never get back words said, time wasted, or a rock thrown. Those three things you can never get back. So we have to be intentional with our words because we speaking curses and we're speaking doom over us by the verbiage and words that we let come out of our mouth, especially when you're mad and angry. When you're in pain, you don't really think about it at that time, but those words are already put out there. And when you hurting, bro, we understand that pain really alters our judgment. We don't think straight
Hmm.
when we hurt. We don't really think straight when we hurt. And
And
even
that's
with our with go ahead.
and that's
When
when
you
all the other substances come into play.
uh-huh.
Alcohol, drugs. That's when a whole lot of other things start coming into
Our
play.
go tos. Right. Right. And we try to find a easy avenue, something to ease the pain. But the pain never goes away. The pain is always there. You just numb it for a moment. But it's still
Yeah.
there. We have to learn how to dig down into that wound and really get healing. And sometimes we have to understand that sometimes the healing hurts worse than the wound. Sometimes the healing hurts worse than the wound. And pain, it dilutes your discernment. And that's one of the key things that we're gonna have to really get on, bro. As we mature people in this space, how to really lean into their spiritual discernment. That comes with
Oh,
growth too. But
oh,
discernment is maybe one of your biggest keys. What you think, bro?
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. That's with even with the soul ties, learning how to fast. You know, disconnecting from your past, getting to a place of peace by fasting and clearing your system of that toxic that you walk around with. So instead of like we saying going to the bottle, going to get a bag of weed, going to do whatever you think that's going to soothe that pain, get to yourself. And that's what we're talking about, that plan. Part of that plan has to include God. And I don't
Absolutely.
think people realize that within the concept of healing. When you start to heal, I'm gonna talk from a drug addiction state. You know, when
Hmm.
you coming out that addiction state and you going through withdrawals, only person you got is you, the withdrawals, and God. So
Facts.
you have to start asking and talking and praying. And I'm telling you, coming from that place, only thing I that's why I say I understand the love of God for me. It didn't come to me in no book. It didn't come to me in the church house. It came to me going through my trials and tribulations. And the only person that I had to keep hearing, I kept hearing it. I really did. That discernment, I kept hearing it. One more day, it'll be better. Keep
Mm.
going, you'll be okay. Keep going, it'll be okay. Never stopping that resilience to keep fighting and fighting and diluting yourself of that toxicity that you use to soothe the wounds. You know, you can
Yes,
put
sir.
you can put cream on a wound, but until it start healing, it's still gonna
Healing.
have. So you
Healing.
gotta get through that. You got to get to that healing process, and as you heal, it's sharpening you to be a better person. Because hopefully, while you're healing, you're understanding compassion. Because at that moment of going through that pain, you have compassion for the person, even for the person that put you through it. A lot of times. A lot of times you're looking at them in a compassionate way because a lot of times you're ready to go back to that person. Oh, what they did wasn't that bad. But that instead of doing that, that compassion has to be internalized. You
You
have to
cooking,
give
sir.
compassion to yourself. You have to
And
be the first person.
to partake. And
Yeah,
you spoke that last night. And that's what I've learned even in the word of God. That anytime Jesus got ready to heal somebody, the word says that he was moved with compassion.
compassion.
Healing cannot take place without compassion. It is a key element of healing. There has to be a state of compassion.
Yeah,
It has to be.
you got to have
Wow.
compassion for the other person because if they did something to you, imagine the pain that they're in. Another
Mm.
transparent moment. You know, with my mom, she certain things was done throughout our relationship that I had to forgive her because I had to understand how much pain she had to be into to give some of the lessons that she gave to me because most of my hardest lessons came from my mother. Most of my street understanding of life came from her. And she told me one time, she said, I'm doing this to you because the world is going to do so much more to you that you're going to have to fight back from. So if
Right.
I'm giving it to you this way, if I'm giving you these hard lessons, you're going to be able to withstand anything that comes your way. And that's why I'm able to stand tall as a man with my head held high because I understand that I've been breaded. When God fills you up with that air, He breathes that strength and resilience into you. So to lay down, to quit, to back out is not an option. The only option I have is to get up. If I told my wife one time, I said, if I get up in the morning, through my morning of losing my mom, I said, if I can get up in the morning, I'm doing good. If I get up, take a shower, put on my clothes, and leave the house, I'm good. I said, because every day is not going to be a good day, but I have to keep moving. Long as I keep moving, God is working on healing. But you can't stop and get stuck and stagnated in your pain to the point where you lose reality. You lose all sense of reality. And that's where depression kicks in. So long as you're getting up and moving and grooving and going, sooner than later, you're going to come back. And I'm telling you, when I came through that tunnel, I looked in the mirror one day and I said, I'm back.
Yes, sir. That feeling right there of knowing of where you've been in the past and knowing where God has brought you to not only in your present but where you're going in your future. That is such a feeling of exuberation, man.
Yeah,
And I stand in the mirror the same way, like I am God's beloved.
yeah,
I am God beloved. I am not only my back, but I'm further than where when I say I've been slingshotted.
catapulted.
Listen, listen, bro.
And
Listen.
everything that you lost, he returns. That's how you
Yes.
know you couldn't stay stuck in that position. Everything that was taken from me, everything that I lost, he gave back. If I, because I relinquished it, and that's the key. Don't fight for things so hard that's being taken from you. Don't. You're not the one to fight the battles.
Right.
You have a father, you have a protector, you have a covering, and he's gonna cover and protect you if you just let it go. We're the only creatures on the planet that have difficulty with the flow of life. You look at every single creature on the planet, from birds to snakes to anything in this world, they flow. We're the only one that has the complexity to have dysfunction within our lifestyles because we haven't figured out how to let life flow. That's our job. That's what we were giving is to flow through. We wasn't meant to get stuck in a position and not move and be bogged down with hurt and pain. No, it's not personal. It's life. Take it, understand it, repair from it, and move forward. And long as, like I said, you keep moving forward, God is clearing up that track behind you.
Yes,
I
sir.
hope all that fire you've been through, and you come to the other side and they look at you and they say, "Wow, you smell good, bro."
No residue. Not none.
No
No
residue.
residue. Wow.
But you gotta keep
Man,
it.
listen. This has been such a great segment.
Yes,
I
yes.
just got a few I got a few more points that I want to hit. And listen, I can't give it all to you today. You got to inbox and get you a special session, a private session, so you can get the fullness of what we have to offer.
Yeah, I
Um,
emailed it down there so y'all can get private
yes.
lessons, private training.
Listen. We taking clients. We taking clients. We ain't just doing this thing for our health. We're doing it for awareness and to help someone.
And we love us.
We we love us. We love us. So that brings us back to we said pain dilutes our discernment. And also one of our biggest issue, bro. Now when we mad and when we in pain, we end up sharing with people who are not assigned as pain partners.
That's right.
Sometimes when we're in pain, we actually end up sharing with somebody who gives us the wrong information and wrong direction. And when that happened, that puts us in a worse predicament than what we was already in. Everybody's not qualified to handle your pain. Everybody's not qualified. And when you're in pain, everybody is not safe either. We have to
No, they're
realize
not.
everybody's not a safe place because pain will make you be compounded, whereas you um, because you said the wrong thing to the wrong people, it becomes more pain on top of more pain. Because we're angry and we're venting and we already spewing venom and we can't send it to the wrong people and it actually just causes us more pain. Um,
Because you look for it in the wrong person. You gotta see God. God can only give you the proper answer.
communication, communication. So
Yes.
we have to decide what we not gonna do to numb our pain. For some of us, it's being a workaholic, food, or substance. Those are the three main things that people go to try to numb their pain.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got a plan in place, you don't have to go to those three things. You can use first and foremost the Father above. That's number one, God first,
Yeah.
and then the different steps. Different steps. So when you're hurting, you have to make sure that you know what steps that you're going to take. And the main thing as we draw to the end, the sun got me. I can't see this time. We're trying to be conscious of the time. Um,
And you ain't got your glasses on. Those ain't your right glasses. Those ain't your right glasses.
Okay, how you gonna put me out like that in the public, bro? You throw me right up on the bus.
Because I see you over there squinting.
Hard, hard, sir, hard, sir. um, we need to know the necessary steps. And the main thing is, what are you gonna believe? What are you gonna believe? Are you gonna believe the pain that you in over his promises? Are you gonna believe the pain over God's promises? Because He has promises in the Word that's for us, and we know that in this life, this is a necessity, y'all, to have a plan for your pain. Because if you don't have a plan for your pain, guess what? Your pain gonna have a plan for you. In life, you always pay. You either pay the price of doing um, the pain plan, or you pay the price of not doing it. Because either way it go, you're gonna pay something. You're gonna pay something. You're gonna pay something. But again, that's our email at the bottom. Let me switch to yours, bro.
Oh yeah, let me
You
tell
can
you
reach
real
out
quick.
to e Go ahead.
The biggest thing is not what people say about you, but it's what you think about yourself. That is
Yes,
the
sir.
biggest issue that we're having. And when you can reprogram your mind and the way you think to think better about yourself, and I'm gonna tell you, one technique is affirmations. Get up and listen to
Every day.
something that's pouring into you, that's telling you how great you are as a person. Start saying things to yourself because all we're doing is needing to reprogram our thinking, and we have negative thoughts about ourselves through society. So once we realize and get this training where we can them thoughts, you will never believe how those thoughts will just evaporate and disappear from your thinking if you really start programming your mind. And this is not once a week, once or 2 weeks. This is every day. Get up and take
Every
some
day.
time to reprogram your mind. So we're gonna
Yes.
close. But brother, finish what you're
Yes.
saying. I'm sorry to cut you
Uh,
off, but I need to get that out.
oh, yeah, no problem. Listen. We tag team back again. That's what we do. We tag
Bad
team
boy.
and we make sure that we give the correct information, the correct tools to not only bring
Yeah,
you aware, but help you to implement those tools in your life. Because information without implementation ain't nothing but frustration. Somebody catch that tomorrow.
yeah.
Information without implementation ain't nothing but frustration. We thank you all for joining us today. Um, Remember to like, share, and follow us as we go through this path called life. You can follow me at Grace by Grayson, or Grayson Productions. Brett, tell them your IDs.
I'm Jay Dunlap on Facebook. Visionaries 2017 is the email. You know, People that know me, you got my number. If you want my number, shoot me an email and I'll send it to you. I'm in the community, and I think I'm gonna finish off. I got a poem that's a little more easier than the other ones, and I created this word up, and we was talking about flow. It's called flowmastic.
Okay.
I'm gonna start it off and then we're gonna get out of here. Flowmastic, everlasting, uniquely equipped to slide and glide through the flows of life, the forever spinning worlds within our minds. Flowmastic is the flow of sound, secretly having an instrumental conversation about the tones of the cymbals clashing into the saxophone as the trumpet romances the keys of the piano, that has
Wow.
fallen in love with the harp, who I have never seen violate the balance of flow. Inside the sounds of escaping strings of the violin, always maintaining as it intertwines the sounds of love, flowmastic.
Wow. Wow. That's a good place to put a pin in it. We thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget, I said to like, share, and follow us on all our social medias. We're on YouTube. And if you have any questions or any topics that you want us to talk about, that you're curious about yourself, please feel free to inbox us or email us. Our email's at the bottom. you can inbox us on social medias. But we thank y'all for tuning in today, and we're grateful for you all. And we are changing the narrative of the black man one mindset at a time. Thank y'all for
Yes,
joining us.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, have a good day.